Alright, so for round 2, this hand is kind of similar to the hands that we had in game 1 of round 1, except this one actually has a commune. So I have things like Doomwake Giant, Soul of Innistrad that are pretty slow and don't really do a whole lot, but I do have a commune to fill this Murderous Cut and look for a mana creature. I also have a Scryland, so that's a big help. So this hand needs some help to develop, but I think we're going to be able to get there. And we scry into a Satyr Wayfinder, which is great. Like, we definitely need more mana, and Wayfinder is basically the perfect card for that job. And I don't know what's going on with our opponent. He could just be the old mirror match. Would not surprise me. It could also be a slower teamer deck. But it doesn't really matter. It doesn't change our play too much. And we have the choice of Temple or Temple. So now need one more mana, and I think we're going to be pretty good. And we have a couple draw steps plus a Temple Scry, so we'll see what happens. And yeah, it just looks like he's a little bit of a slower teamer deck. And we do have the 4th land, so that's good. Just now we're like kind of set up, and I have to figure out how to proceed. I feel like we want to cut down that Phoenix, especially since he is a little far off of being able to flip it back up. Although I'm also kind of scared of getting Storm Breath next turn, or Sarkand or whatever, but I don't think I can let him untap if I decide that I want to kill something, because they could just have Stubborn Denial, Teamer Charm, just like a whole bunch of counter spells. So it's kind of tough. I feel like I could potentially commune this turn also. If I cut off 2 mana and play a Temple, I can play Whip next turn, but I basically have nothing to do with it, which is kind of awkward. I mean, I have the commune as a follow-up, but I don't think that that's necessarily a great way to do things, so it might actually be better to commune this turn, cut his Phoenix for 1 mana, and then save some stuff in the yard, even if it means next turn I'm not really doing anything. And I think that might actually be true. It's kind of weird. I just feel like I'm using my mana fairly inefficiently, but I don't think there's any way around this. But I do commute into a Courser, so that at least gives us something to do next turn. And like I said, I don't really feel like I can let him untap. Do not want to get Stubborn Denialed. Spending probably one of the best cards, if not the best card in the matchup, on just turning his guy face down, which is kind of funny. And he has a Pelucranos. So he's got some big stuff. I need to do some work trying to stabilize here. We do hit a 4th land, so I could play the Whip, and then like next turn, Whip back to DC, but I'm so far behind here. But I'm not sure if playing Courser actually does much for me either. I think it's actually better to just get Courser out there and potentially start making some extra land drops off the top, sort of control the top of my deck a little bit, make it so I'm drawing spells and not lands. Although in this case I have an Elvish Mystic on top, which is like the worst. It is a 1 mana thing that can potentially block a Pelucranos, so maybe it's not the actual worst, but I'm still going to put it on the bottom. And then Courser reveals an Opulent Palace, which is also not really what I wanted, but it's fine. It's fine. I think just getting Courser out there and then probably playing Doomwake Giant and then Whip the following turn and being able to actually attack for a sizable amount of damage and gain that life back is more relevant than like playing Whip, spending my turn basically doing nothing, playing Whip, and then just like whipping back into DC and then having nothing left. So I don't really like the way the game is going. I think I like the way I've played so far, though. Next turn, I can potentially play Farika, I suppose, and make a Death Toucher. Not sure if he's going to activate Plukranos this turn. If he's a 6 land that ETB's untapped, I wouldn't be surprised to see him flip his Phoenix and hit me with that. I don't know. He's probably got a bunch of options. He's got 4 cards. And I have a lot of options, but unfortunately I can only play one of them per turn, it looks like. So that's... If anything happens this game that causes me to lose, it's probably going to be because of that, because I drew a bunch of high-end stuff. Yeah, he is going for the flip. That means if Plukranos attacks, it gives me a window to block Crusader Wayfinder, which I'm certainly going to take. That 5 damage is going to mean a lot here in a couple turns. Alright, so we have a Force on top off the Courser, which is pretty nice. And then we have another Whip, which is redundant. Could actually be the worst possible draw. I could also see playing Doomwake here to just reset his Phoenix again. And then if he wants to take the time to flip his Phoenix, I can just put Doomwake on Plukranos. I could also just see playing Farika and making a Death Toucher so his Plukranos can't attack. But then that means he gets a free turn with Phoenix and all his mana. And I think I just want to constrain his mana. So yeah, I do want to go with the Doomwake thing that I was initially talking about. And I'm not going to attack with my Courser because if he just attacks me with Plukranos, I might want to chump with that. I don't want to just block with Doomwake and let him monster sit and kill my Doomwake. Might actually be able to set up a turn where I can play Farika and make a couple guys and maybe wipe his board. It's going to be especially more relevant if he flips up Phoenix this turn, and then I'm going to need 3 things to kill it for real. It's basically what I want, I think, though, is for him to just turn up the Phoenix, although him knowing I have a whip on top makes that kind of awkward. Like, he knows I can just gain a bunch of life back and attack Doomwake into his now 4/4 Plukranos. Plus I reset his Phoenix, so I don't know. Not sure if that's really a play that my opponent wants to commit to. Maybe it's something he has to do, which would be fine with me, but I don't think that's the best way to get ahead in this situation. Although if he doesn't flip it up, then maybe I just play Farika, make an enchantment thing, and kill his Phoenix, so only runs the risk of that too. And he looks to play a Stormbreath Dragon, which is kind of the best of both worlds, you know? You get this thing that doesn't die to Doomwake, and you still have a bunch of guys back to block with my whip. He just has this big dude. He plays out a Rattleclaw Mystic. That's kind of dangerous, knowing I have Doomwake and a whip on top. So what's the best way to proceed here? I guess I guess he can just monstrous the Stormbreath Dragon and kill me that way. So if I play Farika and make an enchantment, it actually encourages me to play the land out of my hand, which is kind of hilarious. But I have 4 cards. I still die anyway if I don't play Whip. If I play Whip, I give his things -1, can attack with Doomwake, block Plukranos, he can Monstrous Dragon, and I still die? Almost certainly something I'm missing here. Okay, so I think the best course of action, seeing as how I believe I'm dead no matter what I do, is to just kind of act like I have a cut and make it so he doesn't want to commit his turn to flip up that Storm Breath. I don't think that's going to work necessarily, but if he, no matter if I play Farika or Whip, he is going to be able to kill me with that Storm Breath, so I don't think it matters too much. I feel like I thought for a little bit too long. If I had caught it, maybe my play is somewhat obvious, but maybe not. But also maybe the game is slipping away if I get to untap, so he has no option but to walk into a potential cut. And there are 2 in my graveyard already, so it's fairly unlikely that I have one. And he only has 2 cards anyway. So I don't think he's going to beat me going long. He probably just has to try and kill me with this Storm Breath Dragon. He's tapping a bunch of mana. I feel like he's just going to go for it. Teamer 2 rounds in a row is pretty strange. Like I said, I haven't played against this deck too much. This one looks like a little bit different. You know, Caryatid Polukranos, not typically seen in these decks. You normally see a more lower to the ground type of deck with like Boon Satyr and stuff. But I'm also fine with this version. Kind of weird to play like the slower, less aggressive one and play a bunch of mana confluences as well when you probably don't really need to do that. You probably just play tri-lands and some normal pain lands. Okay. Yeah, I kind of hope he attacks with that Polukranos. Attacks with Polukranos, not the Phoenix. Yeah, I feel like he's trying to figure out the best way to play around cut here, but there just isn't one. Yeah, attacking with the Phoenix is slightly better, I think. Because if he attacks this way, I get to block and gain 2, and then I don't even need to have cut to not die this turn. If he attacks with Phoenix, I have to block Polukranos. He can Monstrous. I guess I'm still not dead. Maybe my math was just horrendous. He's actually just short by 1. Why did I think I was taking more damage? Okie doke. Still blocking. And we'll see what happens. Can always give everything -3/-3, but can't actually kill his dragon, so it's kind of difficult. I could try to commune into a Hornet Queen, which seems to be a recurring theme with this deck, and then that's probably a good reason to play for that card. Maybe I thought I was dead because I thought the Phoenix would still be face up. I'm not sure why I thought that, though. It is late, and I'm sleepy. I need this Red Bull to kick in. And that's it. That's all he's got. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of counterspell here, but in case he's just keeping open his mana to activate Storm Breath at an opportune time, I feel like I should just play this land, because if I hit a Hornet Queen, I'll just activate Whip, and that's fine. Then I have like this mana that goes unused this turn, but if I don't hit, I think my best play is Pharika and make a thing. So yeah, I think I should play the land first. Doesn't really change a whole lot. So we do hit the Queen. I'm very lucky, apparently. Then I could try to hit a Doomwake, or I could try to take it. No, actually, I'll just take a Mystic. That's pretty cool. And then I can actually spend that unused mana. I get to whip this Queen. Make all the bees. Get in for some more lifelink. And despite my hand being pretty slow and me having a bunch of dead cards, maybe I'm winning now. Huh. This deck is kind of silly. Always losing until you're not. And looks like that was it. Man, I need to wake up. I thought I was dead, but then he was dead. It was weird. So same matchup as last round. I guess now I'm kind of learning that like maybe we don't need this soul because it's super slow. This Doomwake, like the third Doomwake, might not be necessary. Thoughtseize still seems reasonable to punch through his counter magic. And just like random tricks, like the Teamer Charm and Claws, the finishers. And then I can cut this Pharika. And then it's like late game we don't have this engine, but we still have a bunch of Hornet Queens and whatnot, so it should be fine. Yeah, it sounds pretty sweet. That's basically all the things I want. Which is mostly self-mill card and removal spell, but you know. So I could go like coast into Mystic, next turn Wayfinder and tap land. I kind of wanted to do that, and then I drew this other tap land. But I think the plan is still the same, just because I'll have 4 mana on turn 3. I won't have double black though, which might be an issue for if the thing I want to play on turn 3 is a whip. But I think it is worth the 1 point of damage to get the Mystic out there. So if I don't play Mystic, I play tap land, and then I play Wayfinder, and then I just can't do a 4-drop on turn 3 if I draw one. Yeah, but he just kills it, so that's whatever. Now I don't have Painless Green. I could still Wayfinder here. I think it's probably better to just play a Palace or a Temple. And I think it is the Temple, because next turn I might have to go Wayfinder plus cut something, so I would rather scry now. I definitely want to scry within the next 2 turns, because I know what I'm looking for. I just want like a whip or a CDC. Or commune, I suppose. Yeah, it doesn't look like he's got much going on. Ooh, we drew a Thoughtseize. That is a magic card. So, gonna fetch a swamp and Thoughtseize him. Certainly don't want to mill into both of my swamps. That would be pretty awkward. So I kind of want these deltas for black sources. And he has 2 denials and a Phoenix. I have a cut, but it's not great against Phoenix. And I think I can just play around these denials. Or I can try to, at least. I want Island or Land or Waste. This would be my 4th black source, which I might need if I need to play and activate Whip on the same turn. So I guess I'm taking this because I have plenty of blue anyway. So that looks good. And then I think I'm winning. Certainly in a good position. No one ever wants to trade with the lowly Satyr Wayfinder. So here I could try and fetch out my last land, or I could just play a Palace tapped. I think it's probably worth it to fetch. Certainly don't want to run the risk of drawing the swamp. Thins my deck a little bit when I want to draw spells, and I don't think it's going to disrupt me at all. If I didn't have like this Land or Waste, for example, and it would be possible for my next three lands to be tap lands, so I can play Queen on time, then I think that would be an issue. But since I have this Land or Waste, I don't think that matters. And then I could attack here, but I think I'd rather just preserve my life total and not trade 1 for 1 in this situation, because I just want to buy enough time to play the Queen. He has a Caryatid, which is not going to help him. And now he's attacking. That's kind of weird. I'm certainly fine with that. That Wayfinder's doing me no good. Now, here we are. I'm just waiting. Trying to play this Queen. Now we have all the bees. Now I'm much less worried about him just disdainful stroking the first one. And drew a Commune, which is nice. Can help dig for Whip. So we'll see what happens with this first Hornet Queen. Just concedes instantly. Okay, that card is pretty good apparently.